Inside your arteries right now, blood is rushing through narrow passages under pressure so intense it could crack concrete. This force, invisible and relentless, pushes against vessel walls with every single heartbeat, 70 times every minute of your life. For millions of people, this pressure has climbed too high, becoming a silent assassin that strikes without warning or mercy. The truth is, high blood pressure feels like absolutely nothing until the day it destroys everything you hold dear. No pain, no obvious symptoms, just your body slowly breaking down from the inside while you go about your day. What if the very force keeping you alive is also the one quietly stealing years from your future right now? This is the story of the silent killer, and why understanding it might just save your life or someone you love. Meet Sarah, a 42-year-old teacher who thought she was healthy, active, living life exactly as she should every day. She exercised regularly, ate reasonably well, never smoked, and assumed her body would simply take care of itself without question. Then one morning, during a routine checkup, her doctor delivered news that changed everything she thought she knew about health. Her blood pressure reading was 160/100, dangerously high, and she had felt absolutely nothing wrong. How could something so deadly be happening inside her body without a single symptom to warn her of the danger? To understand this mystery, we need to journey deep inside the circulatory system, into the rivers that sustain every cell. Your heart pumps 5 liters of blood through 60,000 miles of vessels every single minute without ever taking a break. Think of your arteries as flexible tubes, expanding and contracting with each heartbeat, designed to handle this constant rhythmic pressure perfectly. Normal blood pressure, around 120/80, means your vessels are doing their job with ease and remarkable efficiency. But when pressure climbs higher, those vessel walls face forces they were never designed to withstand for extended periods of time. Have you or someone you love discovered high blood pressure during what seemed like a perfectly ordinary doctor's visit that day? Inside Sarah's arteries, the inner lining, called the endothelium, was beginning to suffer damage from years of elevated pressure and stress. These delicate cells, just 1 layer thick, act as a barrier between blood and the deeper layers of the artery wall. When pressure stays too high for too long, this protective lining develops tiny tears and injuries that trigger inflammation throughout the system. Inflammation attracts immune cells that rush to repair the damage, but in doing so, they create something far more dangerous than before. Cholesterol particles begin to accumulate in these damaged areas, forming fatty deposits that narrow the passageway where blood must flow through. This is atherosclerosis, the hardening and narrowing of arteries, and it's happening silently in millions of people right at this very moment. Meanwhile, the heart muscle itself is working harder than it should, pumping against resistance that grows stronger with every passing day. Imagine trying to push water through a garden hose that someone is slowly pinching tighter and tighter without ever stopping completely. Your heart adapts by growing thicker, more muscular, but this isn't healthy growth like building strength at the gym every week. This is pathological thickening that makes the heart less flexible, less efficient, and more prone to dangerous rhythm problems over time. The kidneys, those remarkable filters cleaning your blood 24 hours a day, also suffer under the assault of high pressure constantly. Delicate blood vessels in the kidneys begin to scar and die, reducing their ability to remove waste and balance fluids in your body. In the brain, tiny vessels are particularly vulnerable, weakened by pressure, until one day they might burst or become completely blocked forever. This is how high blood pressure causes strokes, heart attacks, kidney failure, and vision loss, all without ever announcing its deadly presence. But here's what science shows us about this condition in 90% of cases. We cannot identify a single specific cause. This is called essential hypertension, meaning it develops from a complex web of factors rather than one identifiable disease or problem. Genetics load the gun, giving some people vessels that are more sensitive to pressure or hearts that pump more forcefully than others. But lifestyle pulls the trigger. And this is where the story shifts from inevitable fate to something we can actually control ourselves. Salt, that crystalline mineral we sprinkle on food without thinking, plays a starring role in this silent drama unfolding inside us. When you consume too much sodium, your body retains water to dilute it, increasing blood volume and pressure throughout the system. For some people, this effect is dramatic. For others, minimal. But population-wide, salt reduction saves millions of lives every single year. Excess weight, particularly around the abdomen, forces the heart to pump harder to supply blood to tissues that demand more and more. Every extra pound requires miles of new blood vessels. Expanding the network the heart must service with every beat it takes. Chronic stress floods your body with hormones like cortisol and adrenaline that constrict blood vessels and accelerate heart rate dramatically and dangerously. In our modern world of constant notifications, deadlines, and worries, many people live in a state of perpetual stress response daily. Alcohol, in excess, directly damages blood vessel walls and interferes with the systems that regulate pressure throughout your entire body. Lack of physical activity means vessels lose their flexibility, becoming stiff pipes instead of responsive tubes that adapt to your needs. What would it mean to you to finally understand that your daily choices are literally shaping the landscape inside your arteries? Sarah learned all of this sitting in her doctor's office, feeling the weight of years of small decisions accumulating into crisis. She wasn't a victim of bad luck or genetics alone. She was at a crossroads where knowledge could become power and action. The doctor explained that her blood pressure of 160/100 put her at triple the risk of stroke compared to normal. Without treatment and lifestyle changes, she had a 25% chance of a major cardiovascular event within the next 10 years ahead. But here's where hope enters the story. Because high blood pressure is one of the most treatable conditions in all of medicine today. Medications called ACE inhibitors help blood vessels relax by blocking a hormone that causes them to constrict and tighten unnecessarily throughout the body. Beta blockers slow the heart rate and reduce the force of contractions, giving the cardiovascular system a chance to rest and recover. Diuretics help the kidneys remove excess fluid, reducing blood volume and therefore the pressure pushing against those delicate vessel walls constantly. Calcium channel blockers prevent calcium from entering heart and vessel muscle cells, keeping them relaxed and open for blood to flow freely. These medications, often used in combination, can bring blood pressure down to normal ranges within weeks, dramatically reducing immediate risk of disaster. But medication alone is never the complete answer, because the root causes remain unchanged if lifestyle stays exactly the same forever. Sarah made a decision that day that would transform not just her blood pressure numbers, but her entire relationship with her body. She started by reducing sodium intake to less than 1,500 milligrams per day, learning to taste food without the salt mask She discovered that whole foods, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains naturally contain potassium that helps counterbalance sodium's effects on pressure beautifully. The DASH diet, designed specifically for hypertension, became her guide, rich in nutrients that support healthy blood vessels and heart function. She began walking 30 minutes every single day, and within weeks, her vessels started to regain flexibility they had lost over years. Exercise is like physical therapy for your circulatory system, training it to respond efficiently and adapt to changing demands with grace and power. She learned meditation and deep breathing techniques that activated her parasympathetic nervous system, the body's natural brake on stress responses throughout. She lost 20 pounds over 6 months, and with each pound, her heart's workload decreased measurably, giving it the rest it desperately needed. Can you remember a time when a health scare changed how you see your own mortality and the precious gift of time? 6 months after her diagnosis, Sarah's blood pressure had dropped to 125/80, still slightly elevated but no longer dangerous. 1 year later, she was at 118/78, normal range, and her doctor reduced her medication dose significantly with confidence. The damage to her arteries began to reverse as inflammation decreased, and her endothelium started to heal itself, cell by cell. Her risk of stroke and heart attack had dropped by more than half, buying back years of life she thought she'd lost forever. But Sarah's story isn't unique or special. It's the story that millions of people could write if they knew what was happening inside. The tragedy of high blood pressure is that most people don't know they have it until it's caused irreversible damage to vital organs. Nearly half of adults with hypertension are unaware they have it, walking around with a time bomb ticking silently in their chest. This is why it's called the silent killer, because it murders without mercy, without warning, without giving you a chance to fight. But knowledge is the weapon that disarms this killer, and the weapon is available to everyone willing to take one simple step forward. Get your blood pressure checked regularly, at least once a year if you're over 18, more often if you have risk factors present. Home blood pressure monitors are inexpensive and accurate, giving you the power to track your numbers and catch problems before they escalate dangerously. If your reading is consistently above 130/80, schedule an appointment with your healthcare provider to discuss what this means. Don't wait for symptoms, because by the time high blood pressure causes symptoms, it has already damaged your body in ways that cannot be undone. Your doctor can help you understand your personal risk factors and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique situation and needs. Remember that medication is a tool, not a failure, and taking it as prescribed can be the difference between life and death someday. But also remember that lifestyle changes amplify medication's effects and may eventually allow you to reduce or eliminate drugs altogether safely. Reduce sodium by reading labels carefully, cooking at home more often, and choosing fresh whole foods over processed convenience items every time. Move your body every single day in ways that elevate your heart rate and make you breathe harder than you do at rest. Manage stress through whatever practices work for you, whether meditation, yoga, time in nature, or simply laughing with people you love dearly. Limit alcohol to moderate amounts, no more than 1 drink per day for women and 2 for men, and many days with none. If you smoke, quitting is the single most powerful thing you can do for your cardiovascular health and your life expectancy overall. Maintain a healthy weight through sustainable eating patterns that you can follow for life, not crash diets that fail within weeks. What's one small change you could make today that your future self would thank you for when they're living strong at 80? Inside your body right now, Your circulatory system is either thriving or struggling based on choices you made yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Every meal, every moment of movement, every breath of calm is a vote for the kind of future your body will experience. High blood pressure doesn't have to be your destiny, even if genetics have dealt you a challenging hand to play in life. Sarah runs half marathons now, something she never imagined possible when she first heard those frightening numbers in the doctor's office that day. She tells everyone who will listen to get their blood pressure checked because she knows how close she came to disaster. Her story is proof that understanding the silent killer gives you the power to defeat it before it steals your future forever. Your heart beats 100,000 times today, pumping 2,000 gallons of blood through a network of vessels that would circle Earth twice. This magnificent system deserves your attention, your care, and your commitment to the choices that keep it running strong for decades ahead. The silent killer only wins when we remain silent about our health, when we ignore the warning signs, when we assume we're invincible. But when we speak up, get checked, take action, and make changes, we transform from potential victims into empowered survivors of our own lives. Your blood pressure is not just a number. It's a window into your future, and you have the power to change what you see.